Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of The Luckiest T-Shirt. I'm Dan. I'm going to be with you for the next little bit. Today we are talking Doran the Siege Tower Tiny Leader deck tech. So I'm going to be going through that deck. It did pretty well the first time I played it at an event. I went 3-1, lost the first round, won the last three, felt pretty good, got third place. Not bad for my first real successful constructed deck, besides EDH that is. So before we get started on that, I'm going to go through a couple things. As you can see, we got this brand new little bulletin board in the background featuring a couple websites here. We've got my Patreon website. You can go to that if you wish to contribute to the podcast. If not, that's cool too. It will always be free. It will always be ad-free as long as I can stand it. And then the other one here, the Facebook group, The Luckiest T-Shirt. Go to that. We're at about 53, 54 members right now. If we get that to 100, I will do a giveaway. Well, what am I giving away, you ask? Well, some of it's going to be a surprise, but I will tell you what it comes in, and I'll show you, actually. So, this is a box for a bottle of champagne that you can go out and buy the champagne and throw the champagne away and keep the box. It's called Veuve Clicquot. It comes in this nice metal case, and it fits just about everything that you would possibly need. So it's just about the perfect size for everything. I will show you how I use it. So as you can see, I got one of my own. It's upside down. There we go. One of my own here. Open that up. Got the playmat, deck box, a couple of boxes of tokens, and bag of dice, and a little dice thing. It all fits in there real neat. There's enough space in the top so that you can fit your playmat in. Closes up real nice. You don't actually have to buy the champagne. A little trick I will tell you though. If you give one of your local fine dining restaurants a call, do not call them during service. That means lunch or dinner time, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. They generally don't like people calling around those times. But if you call in the afternoon and say, hey, do you guys happen to have any champagne boxes? Ones that work real good are Cristal. Cristal's a nice one. There's a couple liquor boxes that work pretty cool too. And just say, all right, do you throw them away? Can I have one? And if they say no, well, hey, what do you lose? 5 minutes on the phone, big deal. So that's one cool thing. Anyway, that's going to be what's holding the stuff for the giveaway. If you join the Luckiest T-Shirt group on Facebook, there's also going to be some sleeves. There will be some dice, some maybe deck boxes. There could be some cards in there. There were cards in the last one. It costs you nothing. You just join the group, you listen to the podcast, you watch the YouTube videos, and you're entered. And that's it. That's all you got to do. So like it and share it and spread the word, because I'm not doing it until we get to 100. And the last thing I want to talk about is for all you YouTube watchers, I want to apologize for the last couple videos. Just remember, my channel's in its infancy, and I'm still learning how to do all this on my own. So I've had a few audio issues on there, so for people listening to the podcast, it's been great, right? It's been absolutely stunning. But on the videos, there's a couple videos there where only the left channel works. So if you're listening to it with headphones, it can be a little disorienting. And there's one video where the audio starts out synced up, and as the video goes on, it gets out of sync. And the video actually gets behind the audio or ahead of the audio. It's something to do with during compression, and I didn't catch it. And I feel like a fucking asshole because there's like 100 people who watched the goddamn video, and it's so stupid. So if you're watching this on YouTube now, there's probably a bit of echo in the room because I'm switching to a different microphone instead of the one that I'm talking into, which is funny. But this one's for the podcast, and that one's for the channel. Anyway, that's what I got to do for now until I figure out how all this stuff works. I'm still learning. I'm still a baby at all this, so we'll go from there, all right? So last thing I want to do is a little tasty treat. I got myself a conspiracy booster. I haven't opened one of these for a little while. So if you're not sure what the tasty treat means, tasty treat is something that's full of flavors. So we open the pack, We look for a card with a lot of flavor, maybe some flavor text. We talk about maybe a bit of the storyline. I'm not 100% familiar with the storyline behind the conspiracy set, but there are a few cool characters in there: Selvala, Brago, Marquesa. Okay, so this will be an interesting comparison. So I featured Typhoid Rats, which was printed in Fate Reforged recently, and they have it here too. It says kidnappers caught in Havengul are given two choices: languish in prison or become rat catchers. The smart ones go to prison, because you fuck with the rats, you get bitten, and then you die. So maybe that's the text from Innistrad. Could very well be. Maybe they just ripped that from there. All right, let's see what the rare is. Ooh, we got two rares. I got a foil Custody Soulbinders. So this guy is a 3 and a white for a 0/0 human cleric that enters the battlefield with X counters, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Then you can pay 2 and a white, remove a counter, and put a 1/1 flying spirit token onto the battlefield. So comes in with hopefully a bunch of counters. You're not going to cast him on an empty board, because then he only gets 1. And then you only get one white, 1/1 flyer. The other one I got here is Silent Arbiter. This is good in multiplayer setting. No more than one creature can attack each combat, and no more than one creature can block each combat. In other words, it says, Krenko, make all the goblins you want, but there's only one of them swinging. All right. So we'll move on to the deck tech now. Doran the Siege Tower. If you're unfamiliar with Tiny Leaders, it is a 50-card format, singleton. No spell can cost more than 3 CMC, which means X spells are fine if the amount of mana paid before the X is 3 or less. So I can't think of one that's 4X, but if, oh yeah, Empty the Pits. No Empty the Pits in Tiny Leaders, but Green Sun Zenith, fill your boots. Maybe that one's banned, I don't know. Let's Fireball. You can use Fireball, right? So Doran the Siege Tower. He is black, green, and white. He is my general. He's a 0/5 Treefolk Shaman. And each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So to start building the deck, first thing I did was went on my favorite search engine, magiccards.info, and I searched for creatures with CMC 3 or less and toughness 4 or greater. Don't give a shit what the power is, and then I filtered it for these colors. And I came up with got a bunch of stuff. So that's the basic theme of the deck is toughness matters, which is what it would be. Don't give a shit about the power, whatever the power is. So I was kind of looking for a rate of at least 3 power for 2 mana or less, and 4 power for 3 mana, or sorry, at least 3 toughness for 2 or less. And so I at least want essentially 2 mana 3/3s, 3 mana 4/4s, and there are quite a few. There's a couple 1 mana 4/4s. And when I say 4/4, I mean dealing combat damage based on its toughness rather than its power. So we'll start off with just actually a value creature. This guy is just good. Fleece Mane Lion, green and a white. He's a 3/3 cat, and he has he can monstrous for 5, green, white 3. Monstrous is for 1, so it becomes a 4/4. But he also becomes hexproof and indestructible. Yeah, you have those two things. There's only really one way to kill it, and that's to give it --/ counters, but you can't even target it. So in 3 CMC or less, that's not going to be an easy thing to get. So yeah, he's just in there for value. He's just a really, really well-costed creature. So starting with the theme, we got a 1/3 for 2. This is Concordia Pegasus. So it costs 1 and a white for a 1/3. That's flying. And the evasion here is what's important. So getting a 3/3 flyer for 2 when Doran's on the battlefield, that's where I'm going with that. Next up, I got Bane Alley Blackguard. So this is a 3/3 for 2 as well. This one's on the ground. It's just a vanilla creature. It's probably the first thing I cut when I look to sideboard or if I'm looking to improve the deck at all. I got a Grizzled Leoto. I don't know how Leotal. I don't know how that's said. Grizzled? No. Green and a white for a 1/5. And obviously with Doran, he's a 5/5. So 5/5 for 2, that's just value. Next up I got Fiend Hunter. This guy does work because this is O-Ring with power and toughness. It's 2 white and 1 for a human cleric that's 1/3. With Doran, he's 3/3. But the most important part is when he enters the battlefield, you may exile another target creature. Could be your own. Doesn't have to be your opponent's, but it probably is going to be your opponent's. And then when he leaves the battlefield, return that exiled card to its owner's control. So what it does really is it gets their best blocker out of the way just for the moment. Duty Bound Dead, he's a 0/2 for 1, so he kind of fights as a 2/2. The relevant text on this card is Exalted. Getting all those little points of damage in, very relevant. The other bit of text on here is he has 3 and a black to regenerate him. Having a regeneratable 2/2 for 1 mana seems pretty good. Next up, this guy is techie as fuck. His name's Skin Shifter. He's 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature, and that's it. No, that's not it. He's a human shaman, but he has pay a green and choose one. You don't have to tap him. Until end of turn, he either becomes a 4/4 rhino with trample, a 2/2 bird with flying, or a 0/8 plant with nothing. It doesn't say defender or anything, and thank God, because with Doran, this guy becomes an 8/8 for 3 mana. Sure, you got to invest 1 green every turn to make him an 8/8, but holy shit is that value. An 8/8 for 2 mana. 3 if you include paying the cost. Either way, he's great. Finishes games, kills people, it's great. This guy, Abzan Falconer, he's a 2/3 for 3. That's 2 and a white for a human soldier. He has Outlast. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. Seems good. There's a few spells in here that distribute +1/+1 counters. So being able to pick all your dudes up and send them in the air, and now they're 4/4s and 5/5s attacking in a format where you only have 25 life, and a format where everybody else's stuff is probably going to be 1/1, 2/2, 3/3 because, you know, CMC 3 or less. Pretty good. Next we got the Liliana the Veil Hater, Loxodon Smiter. And that's what this guy is for, because Liliana the Veil is one of the few 3 mana or less planeswalkers. Tibalt doesn't count because he's a piece of shit. Tried him, sucks. So for 1 green and a white, you get a 4/4 Elephant Soldier. And he can't be countered, so that's good. But most importantly, if something would make you discard him, you put him on the battlefield instead. So if it's Liliana's +1 and this guy's in your hand, Liliana makes each player discard. They discard something to their graveyard, and you discard Loxodon Smiter to the battlefield. Next up, I got Abzan Beastmaster. This is 2 and a green for a 2/1. 2/1? How does that make sense in a Doran deck? He's only a 1/1. But this is one of your card draw engines. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest toughness, or tied for the greatest toughness. So it's a toughness-based deck. On your upkeep, you're probably, hopefully, getting an extra card. Next up, another kind of just value creature, but with all the high toughnesses and the various toughnesses in the deck. Experiment 1 for 1 mana, 1/1 that evolves. He's a human ooze. So evolve says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So you play it turn 1, anything you play turn 2 is going to evolve it, and pretty much any creature in the deck is going to evolve it. But having the ability to regenerate them by removing 2 of those counters makes him a great blocker. And lastly, for creatures, we got Village Bellringers. I didn't think that was the last creature. Probably one hiding. Yeah, there's one. Second last for creatures. Village Bellringers, 2 and a white for a 1/4, so he attacks and blocks as a 4/4 with Doran on the battlefield. But this guy has flash. And he also has, when he enters the battlefield, untap all creatures you control. That seems good. Because you swing for, I don't know, let's say you swing for 12, right? You swing with 3 4/4s. I guess it'd be 13. Swing with 2 4/4s and Doran, who's a 5/5. Then they're like, sweet, he's open. You cast Village Bellringers, and now you have 2 4/4s and a 5/5, and another 4/4 ready to block. Great trick. And then this last creature that I misplaced, a 1 mana 0/4, which means a 1 mana 4/4 with Doran on the battlefield, has Outlast for 1 and a black. Don't really outlast him too much. He's already good value. It's a Khans of Tarkir card. I really like it. Goes really well in the deck. So we'll move on to some of the spells. Council's Judgment. Absolutely a must include, because this gets rid of hexproof creatures, and Geist of St. Traft in this format, he's a bit of a heavy hitter. So being able to say, starting with you, each player votes for a non-land permanent you don't control. Exile each permanent with the most votes or tied for the most votes. So smart players, I pick your Geist of St. Traft, and you vote for your Geist of St. Traft, because if you vote for anything else, it has to be something that I don't control. So it has to be one of your things. If you vote for anything else, they both go. I'm sure most of you know that, but just in case, that's how that works. Whatever I vote for, you also vote for, because otherwise you're losing 2 things. And it doesn't target. That's what's important. Swords to Plowshares. 1 white mana, get rid of that. Tragic Slip. There's going to be stuff dying in this format. I predict it's mostly a creature-based format. There's a few spells kicking around, but I don't think a whole lot of them are going to be able to get you from 25 to 0. So I'd say it's mostly a creature-based format. And so stuff's going to be dying. So the ability to give something -13/-13 with the Morbid trigger is pretty good. Beast Within, again, it's the green way to say get rid of that thing. You give them a 3/3 beast, but most of your stuff is going to be outclassing that beast. Like I said, stuff's going to be dying. Doomblade, Hero's Downfall, Ultimate Price. A lot of kill spells just are 3 mana or less. So when something is going to die anyway, being able to sack it for 1 and a black and draw 2 cards instead of losing all that value. I really like Altar's Reap. I think it's a deadly card. Abzan Charm is all about utility and versatility. So exile target creature power 3 or greater, or draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, like Sign in Blood, or distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. So this goes well with the Abzan Falconer, being able to pick 2 of your guys up, have them flying. It's good. All of those options at the cost of black, white, and green. It's good. Unflinching Courage. They say running auras is dangerous and it's risky because you risk 2 for 1ing yourself. But I think giving something +2/+2 trample and lifelink for 1 white and a green, so 3 total, I think that's worth it. If it sticks, it's going to be very hard for your opponent to come back. Travel Preparations puts a +1/+1 counter on 2 creatures and does this twice. Again, Abzan Falconer, it picks them up and now they're flying. If you don't have Abzan Falconer, it's just good value because it has flashback. So you get to do it once and then you flash back, get to do it again. Next up, we got Divine Favor. Again, this goes with the auras, but in this deck, being able to have 3 extra toughness. So now Doran's a 6/8, or one of your other creatures is like a 2/7 or a 2/8. It's just value, and it's only 2 mana. And if it sticks, you gain 3 life. So nice little bonus. I like Divine Favor. I like Dark Favor. They're fun little cards. Next up, Got just Value Town. This one's one of your backup plans between the travel preparations and the Abzan Charm and the Unflinching Courage. Lingering Souls just does work. It gives you blockers. It gives you flying attackers. Again, it has flashback. It's very useful. So 2 and a white, 2 1/1 flying spirits, and then you can flash it back for 1 and a black. There. Just a good card. So next up is Grim Contest. This is 1 black and a green. It's an instant. That's very important. Choose target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its toughness to the other one. So the nickname of Butt Fight on this card, extremely useful in this deck. And again, being instant speed is wicked. And the last two, these are kind of our, almost last two. We'll go with a Quarter Shield next. It's a 0 mana equipment that equips for 3, and it gives 0/3 and Vigilance. Very relevant. Increase that toughness and make it so you don't have to tap, so you have a blocker, like an 8/8 Doran in combat. Seems good. Okay, these last two are kind of the win condition of the deck. So if you can manage to get 3 or 4 creatures on the board that have stuck, and you're going to get through with 1 or 2 of them, these last two help. They're both instants. First one is 2 and a white. It's called Bar the Door. It's from Dark Ascension. Creatures you control get +0/+4 until end of turn. So, junky card, except when Doran's on the battlefield. It's also great for, you know, someone's wiping stuff out. You can save all your dudes. It's excellent. But even better than that is Tower Defense from Gatecrash. +0/+5 until end of turn, and it's for 1 and a green. So even if you have 2 guys on the battlefield, one of them is Doran, the other one's a 1/4, you just got yourself a 10/10 in combat and a 9/9 in combat. If either of those got through, you just hit for 19 damage. They got 25 life. So you still got some work to do, but that is a shit ton of damage. As far as lands go, the mana base is fairly straightforward. I got some of my primo lands, but this is probably the most techie one. It's called Grove of the Guardian, and it's a creature format. So having an 8/8 seems good. So it's a land that taps for a colorless, but it also has 3 white and green. Tap it, tap 2 untapped creatures you control, and sacrifice Grove of the Guardian. Put an 8/8 green-white elemental creature token with Vigilance on the battlefield. I've gotten the 8/8 once. I connected with it once. I won that game. Maybe that's results-based thinking, but it could work. You got Vigilance dudes. You can do this after combat on your next turn or on their turn. I like it. I think it's good. Just going to talk really quickly about the sideboard. I haven't completely worked out the sideboard, but I do know some cards that I'm keeping in there. So we'll just go through a few of them. Golgari Charm. If you've never played this card, then you didn't play during Return to Ravnica, because this is black and a green. It's an instant. You choose one of these, and they're all pretty good. All creatures get -1/-1 till end of turn. Can help you catch up if you're behind. Or destroy target enchantment, because there are definitely some enchantments that need destroyed. Or regenerate each creature you control. Can save your team. Can destroy their team. Can destroy both teams. Can pop, Rhystic Study or something. Kills a bunch of stuff. Just useful. Next up we got Arcane Lighthouse. This is the land that opponents' creatures lose hexproof. That's important for Geist of St. Traft and any other hexproof creatures that are out there. Imposing Sovereign. This is good against token aggro haste strategies for 1 and a white. It's a 2/1 human. And creatures your opponents control enter tapped. So their haste no longer matters because they come in tapped. And Quasali Pride Mage. It's pretty useful for destroying artifacts and enchantments. The Exalted is not irrelevant on the card because you can put it out there on your pre-combat main phase, swing, and then pop an enchantment later. Seems good. And the last one I want to talk about is a defense against a card that I'm not playing because I don't own one, and I think it's pretty dirty. I mean, if I'm in a tournament, maybe I'll run this card, but Chalice of the Void is a dirty, dirty card. So this card is 2x, enters the battle. It's an artifact, enters the battlefield with counters on it equal to X. In other words, you pay 2, you get 1 counter. You pay 4, you get 2. You pay 6, you get 3. And 3 is the most you'll ever need. Whenever a player plays a spell with the CMC equal to the number of counters on Chalice of the Void, counter that spell. So you set it on 3, you can't play your commander. Neither of you. But if I've already put my commander out, and then I play Chalice, at least I have my commander out. You put it on 2, cuts off a bunch of your deck. You put it on 1, it cuts off a bunch of your deck. It's basically 1/3 at least of your deck is going to get just cut off. You just can't play that stuff. So my idea for this deck, for the sideboard, is 3 cards. And those are at 1 mana, it's Hex Parasite. At 2 mana, it's Vampire Hexmage. And at 3 mana, it's Krosan Grip. All of those cards deal with Chalice of the Void. The first 2 do it by taking counters off. So if let's say you have all 3s in your hand, you can just take 1 counter off with Hex Parasite and leave it on 2, hosing your opponent's 2 drops, and you got a handful of 3s. If you got a mixed hand, just take them all off. Vampire Hexmage, you sack it, take all the counters off. Krosan Grip destroys it split second. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's Doran the Siege Tower for Tiny Leaders by The Luckiest T-shirt. If you like the idea of the deck, give it a try. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. Play something else. Maybe that's not your style. All right. So yeah, for now, take that. Have fun with it. Join the Facebook group. Maybe check out the Patreon. And for now, have fun with it.